Jeff, my name's Sergeant Hendrick. I'm with the Sheriff's Department.
Hendrick, nice to meet you. Mr. Glover. Nice to meet you.
We won't take too much of your time.
Okay.
We just got a couple questions for you. Okay. Like we explained to your dad and your sister, our goal here is to figure out what happened. Okay. Strictly figure out what happened, and we can move on from there.
This is 21-year-old Jeffrey Pine. Jeffrey is about to be interviewed by the police after his mother was found unresponsive inside the garage of their family home. His mother's name was Ruth Pine, and it appeared that she had been attacked and left to die.
911, where's your emergency? My wife, she's like in the garage. There's blood everywhere. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Is she in the house or outside? She's in the garage.
The police would begin their investigation into what was an obvious homicide. At first, the police investigated Ruth's husband, Bernie, but he had a rock-solid alibi. The police also believed that it wasn't a robbery gone wrong, because nothing had been stolen from the home. Eventually, they would find that a large 2x4 was missing from the garage, near where Ruth's body had been found. An autopsy had been done on Ruth, and it appeared that a 2x4-like weapon had been used to take her life. This information would lead them to Jeffrey Pine, who had 2 large wounds on his hands that appeared as if they had come from swinging a large piece of wood.
Okay? You're not under arrest or anything like that, okay? How old are you?
21.
21?
Yeah.
Is your name Jeff or Jeffrey?
Either.
Which do you go by?
Usually Jeff.
Jeff? Okay. Do you work?
Yes.
Where do you work?
Spicer Orchards.
Oh, on Clyde Road?
Clyde and 23, yeah.
Okay. All right. What do you do there?
Just about everything. I've been there since I was 16. I'm their unofficial winemaker. I make cider, I work the register, pretty much anything they need me.
A little bit of everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
The detective begins by asking Jeffrey if everyone in the family got along with each other.
How well does everybody in the house get along?
We all get along really well, especially since she's been on her medication. I don't know if my dad already told you, she's bipolar.
Right.
Since I think it was about September, we got her on medication, and she's been getting better every week, really. And as she gets better, everybody's relationship in the house gets better. And
I understand there's a time it wasn't so good.
Well, it's when she goes manic, it puts a lot of stress on us all, and it's tough around the house.
Right.
So. But it hadn't been that way in a long time, since September. So.
I understand that there was an issue where there was some sort of fight between the two of you and she ended up getting arrested a while back?
Yeah, that was back last summer. She was not on her medication. She was very, very manic.
Ruth had been diagnosed with bipolar, depression, and psychosis, and had been put on medication to help with the symptoms. The problem was getting her to take the medication. When she did, she seemed calm and fairly normal, but when the medication was stopped, she would have severe mood swings.
And it was early in the morning. I heard my parents yelling back and forth, and it woke me up. And I walked into their room because the door was open, and they were just screaming at each other, and she came at me. She launched out of the bed and grabbed me by the throat and started hitting me and stuff. But I mean, she didn't hurt me or anything. It was just, she was manic. She wasn't herself.
Right.
So.
How long has she had issues?
Well, first started back when I was 7. She was more depressed back then. Like, bipolar, you're depressed and manic.
Sure.
She was more depressed at that time. For a few years, and then my sister was born in 2000, and she was good up until about 2008, right after I graduated high school, and she just went manic. It changed. She wasn't depressed anymore. She just got crazy. Just hyper, just all over the place.
And you said she's been on medication?
Yes.
Do you know what kind of medication she's been on?
After listening to Jeffrey list the medications that Ruth took, the detective goes back to his original line of questioning. He wants to know the events leading up to when Ruth was found, because Jeffrey was the last person to see her.
So today, let's get back to today. So today you said you got up around 10?
Yeah, about 10.
All right, what did you do when you got up?
Had breakfast, got on the computer. Didn't really do a whole lot. She got home from grocery shopping and I helped her bring the groceries in and put some of them away. And
Where'd she go grocery shopping, any idea?
Meyer.
So was she home when you got up, or was she already gone?
No, she was gone.
Okay.
She got back, I don't know what time it was, like 11:30 or noon, something like that.
Who was home when you got there? Or when you got up, was anybody else home?
No, it was just me.
Just you? Okay, all right. So then she got back, and you helped her put the groceries away, and then you said at some point she went upstairs and laid down.
Yeah.
Was that right away after she put the groceries? What'd she do before she went up there?
I don't know, she was in the living room. I think she was reading. She was in there for a little bit, and then I know she went upstairs to lay down, because when I left, that's where she was, so.
Was there any issue? Was she upset about anything, or everything okay when you left?
No, everything was fine.
Okay. Did she know you were leaving? Did you tell her you were leaving?
Yeah.
Okay. And you drive what car?
The 90 olds.
The
brown one.
The brown one?
Yeah.
Okay. And then there was another one in the driveway, a white.
A white one? Yeah, okay. White. I think it's an Oldsmobile. Yeah.
Whose is that?
That's my dad's. He hardly ever drives it. He bought it because it was a good deal.
Okay.
And he drives the blue car usually.
All right. And then the one in the garage is?
The van. It's my mom's.
Your mom drives that one?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. When you left, what door did you go out?
I went out the garage door.
The overhead roll-up door?
Not the roll-up door, the side garage door.
The side garage door. Okay. All right. Did you lock the door?
No, I left it unlocked.
Okay. Do you normally leave it unlocked?
Usually, I knew my dad and Julia were coming home from school, so I left it unlocked for him.
Left it unlocked?
Yeah.
Okay. And you think that was around 1:30?
Yeah, I left about 1:30.
Okay.
Jeffrey claims that after leaving his home, he went to a neighbor to continue some yard work that he had been paid to do. This would have been a great alibi, except that the neighbor was not home. But Jeffrey did leave her a voicemail. Prosecution would use this voicemail in court, saying that Jeffrey called his neighbor to try and establish an alibi.
I've been over to your house a few times. I thought you were coming home. I was just over there for about an hour or so, just kind of sweeping up, kind of checking things out. I was actually hoping you'd be there.
Did you go anywhere else other than to that lady's house and then to Spicer's? Did you stop at any grocery stores, party stores, gas stations?
No, I went right to her house, and then I left and went right to Spicer's.
Okay. What time did you get to work today? At Spicer's?
I got there right before 3.
Right before 3?
Yeah.
And you're supposed to start at 3?
Start at 3, yeah. I usually get there about 10 minutes early.
Do you punch in?
Yeah, I punch in a time card.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And what were your responsibilities today?
Today, my boss didn't give me any set jobs. I usually just go in and start doing stuff. First thing I did was I went and checked the bathrooms, because usually when you come in the afternoon, that's what you do. So I went there and checked them, and really the only other thing I did was weigh up a keg of hard cider and put it in the fridge under the bar, hook that up. So, and then my dad called me and told me to come home. And I just left.
Okay. What did your dad tell you on the phone?
He just said, come home right now, hurry. I asked him, what's going on? Are you okay? What's going on? And he said, just get home, drive safe. And so I just told my manager, I was like, my dad just called, I gotta get going. I don't know what's going on. So, and she said, just go.
What's your manager's name?
There's a few. The one I told was, her name's Heather Spicer.
Heather Spicer? Okay. All right. Well, what's wrong with your hands?
This was from work today. I was flipping over a pallet on my way to check the bathrooms, and as I was flipping it over, my hand got caught in there and just tore off the skin.
Jeffrey claims that flipping a pallet is what caused the wounds on both of his hands. The police would interview Jeffrey's coworkers, and they would tell them that in their line of work, injuries like the ones on Jeffrey's hands are close to impossible to get.
Can I see it? I mean, can you not do that?
Yeah, you can. I can kind of pull it back a little bit and see it just rip the skin right off.
Let me see. I want to.
Yeah.
So. That looks painful.
It kind of stings when you push on it. I'm just trying to keep it covered up, so.
Just almost, it almost looks like a blister.
It just tore the skin right off. There was like skin hanging on it, and I just like peeled it off, washed my hands, put some alcohol swab on it. So.
That was it?
Well, I put on a bandage at work, but the lady in the ambulance, when I got here, she gave me this. So.
Oh, okay. And that was from a pallet at work?
Yeah.
Was that pallet near the bathroom, you said?
Yeah, it was it's around the back. Just as you're walking to it, I was putting it back on the stack there, and it got my hands caught.
Is it a wooden pallet?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you bleed a lot, or just a little bit, or no?
Not really. It got really red,
right?
And so I was going to the bathroom, so I just rushed to the bathroom, washed my hands off, put some paper towel on it, then went into the break room, got the medical kit. So.
Okay. All right. There was no altercation, or your mom was not upset or anything today before you left?
No, she was fine.
Okay.
I gave her a hug after we put the groceries away, and she was fine.
Was your car parked in the driveway or on the street when you left?
When I left to come here?
When you left to go to work?
It's in the driveway. I was parking in the driveway.
Parked in the driveway? Yeah. Okay, all right. Jeff, obviously you talked to your dad, and you know that your mom has passed away, right? What did he tell you happened?
He doesn't know what happened. He said he saw her. He said it was real quick. He saw her by the door, and that she was pale and there was blood. And he doesn't know what happened.
What do you think happened?
I really don't know. I have no idea. I don't think she would hurt herself. She's not that type of person.
Has she ever tried to hurt herself before?
Not that I ever know of. She's never...
You will notice that while Jeffrey was being questioned about things unrelated to the case, he showed very little emotion as he gave his answers. What's interesting is that even when he describes the fight with his mother, injuring his hands at work, or the phone call from his father, he maintains the same baseline of emotions.
Jeff, the lady's house that you're working at,
Yeah.
Not Spicer's, the other lady's house, are you doing it? What type of painting are you doing over there?
I was priming her basement.
What color?
White.
White. Okay. You said that she's out of town right now.
I'm thinking she is. I gave her a call actually today. Let her know I was still working for her and taking care of stuff around the house. That I thought she would be back by now.
Okay. You said that you went over. You said you transplanted some lilacs.
Yeah.
Did she ask you to do that?
Yes, it's on the list for me to do.
I mean, did she leave you a list of things to do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And she told you where she wanted these transplanted and whatnot?
Yeah, she put markers for them.
Okay. Did she ask you to come over there today?
Not today, but she doesn't ask me to come over any specific day.
Okay.
She just gives me a list of things to do usually, and I just come over whenever I can.
Okay. When you got up today, and did you take a shower home?
No, I took a shower yesterday.
Okay. Which room did you shower in?
I always shower in the upstairs bathroom. It's in the hallway.
Okay.
There's one in my parents' bedroom. There's a bathroom there, and then there's one in the hallway. And I always shower in the hallway.
Okay. And you showered yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
Did anybody shower in that shower today that you know of, like your sister?
No, she usually showers at night.
All of the evidence they have is now circumstantial, so what the detectives will need to do is establish a motive. In most homicide cases, there is usually a motive that ties a suspect to their victim. A motive is not required for the jury to reach a verdict. However, it does strengthen the case against a suspect because it gives a reason for their crime.
When you had the domestic situation with your mom, where your mom came at you upstairs, was there any bitterness going on between you and the mom at all, as far as her going to jail? I mean, was she upset with you because she ended up in jail for the amount of time that she was there?
No, she gets upset at my dad. She blames all of her problems on him.
On your dad?
Yeah.
Does that cause problems between you and your mom?
Not really.
Over the dynamics of how things are going on at the house?
Not really. I mean, I don't have a problem with my mom. Never had a problem with her. The only issue I had was I wanted her to take medicine, and nature of the illness, she didn't want to take it.
Right.
That's the only problem I've ever had with her.
Which is pretty common with bipolar people.
Right.
Sometimes they get to a point where all of a sudden they quit taking it.
Yeah, they feel good when they're not taking it. It's kind of like a drug high.
Right.
So it's hard to get them to stay on the stuff.
Is there anything that we haven't asked you? I mean, off the top of your head, that you think would be important to this investigation? Anything at all? I mean, did your mom have any enemies?
Not really.
No.
I mean, she didn't really have any friends, so that kind of eliminated her having enemies. If that makes any sense. I
mean, is there anybody that you can think of that's capable of harming your mother? Or anybody out there that you can think of that would want to harm your mother?
I can't. I mean, she's always been a really nice lady.
Can't think of anybody.
I don't know. I don't know of anyone.
Does she go anywhere other than home and shopping and that type of thing? Does she hang out with anybody?
No, she used to have some friends that she would go get lunch with occasionally, but she hasn't done that for a long time.
Cool.
So back before 2008.
Before 2000. Okay.
Jeffrey claims that he has no idea how his mother died. The detective decides to tell him what happened because he wants to see how he will react to the news. Watch how Jeffrey reacts to finding out his mother was murdered. He doesn't ask any questions about the homicide or show any emotions other than putting a hand over his face.
Jeff, see, you have no idea how your mom died or anything?
No.
Okay. Your mom was murdered. Someone killed your mom. Okay, it's not an accident. We need to get to the bottom of it. Okay? So if there's anything else that you know about that you've been holding back, that you're afraid to tell us, now's the time. Okay?
I don't know what to tell you.
I
don't know of anyone who would want to hurt her.
We're going to ask you some pretty tough questions, okay?
Okay.
Did you have any altercation with your mom today?
No, not at all.
Nothing at all?
No.
Okay. No type of fight, no type of argument, anything?
No, I didn't raise our... We didn't even argue today.
Okay. And you say that you left at 1:30. Can anybody verify that you left at 1:30? How can we verify that?
I don't know. I can't.
Well, you said you called the lady. When did you call the lady?
I called her after I left when I was on my way to Spicer's.
After you left her house?
Yeah.
Did you leave her a message?
Mm-hmm.
And on the message, what'd you tell her?
I just told her that I was still working for her, and then I thought she was coming back the 19th, so when she said she'd be back. And, I hadn't seen her around there. I've been there a few times since then, and she hadn't been there. I was just wondering if she was back or not, and just letting her know that I was still taking care of stuff for her, so.
The detective notices several scratches on Jeffrey's arms.
Are those scratches on your forearm? Yeah.
These, yeah. I get scratched up a lot from work. This was a goat got out of the pen, and we had to catch him. And
A goat?
Yeah, we have a petting farm, and there's a new setup, and the one goat always gets out. So.
What's this on your pants?
Paint.
This paint?
Yeah.
What were you painting?
That was back from this winter/spring. I don't wear shoes in the house.
Okay. Where do you keep all of your shoes at?
There's just a shoe rack. There's one right by the door, and then there's one that's out a little bit more. That's where I keep my shoes.
Right.
There's a ladder. I have some of my work shoes there.
Okay. A wooden ladder?
Yeah.
Wooden?
Yeah.
When you went over to the house on Malibu, what all did you do over there today?
I went over there, transplanted her lilacs, and
How many did you transplant, Dylan?
a 5. And I had a little bit of extra time. I was trying to clean up the basement before I had to go to work. So I swept down there a little bit right by the pull-out door.
Did you contact the owner of that home today?
I called her after I left.
Okay. Do you normally do that?
No, I called her because I was kind of wondering why she hadn't been there, because that was about the 3rd time I've been there since I thought she was going to come home.
Okay.
And I just wanted to give her a call and let her know. I'm still working for you. I don't know where you're at. But
Well, if she didn't fire you, why would you feel the need to contact her to tell her that you're still working for her?
Well, just because she hadn't come home yet. I was
But
kind of confused. That was part of why I called her. Be like, I'm still here. Where are you at? Kind of. Sorry.
I guess my thing is, if you're still employed and she didn't fire you,
Yeah, go ahead, put them on.
and she didn't fire you, why would you feel the need to contact her?
I was wondering mainly if she was home or not. If she'd come back home from being out of town. And I was just letting her know that I was still keeping up on the jobs that she had for me.
Jeffrey has been told that his mother was involved in a homicide, and the detectives are not hiding the fact that he is a suspect. Most people in this type of situation would express feelings of anger, sadness, and shock. They would be very adamant that the police have the wrong person. So far, Jeffrey has remained calm and in control, but this is about to change. Jeffrey is about to show sadness for the first time. However, it is very brief and appears forced.
Jeff, from the time that you injured your hands today,
Yes.
out at Spicer's, had you been home in between the time you injured your hands and the time that your dad contacted you?
No, I was at the lady's house, and then I went to work.
And you never.
And then my dad called me, and then I went home.
Okay, so you had never been back at the house.
No.
In between there.
It would go. I leave home, go to the lady's house, go to Spicer's, go back home.
Okay. Jeff, I'm going to ask you a tough question here today.
Okay.
Did you do anything today at all to hurt your mom?
No.
In any way, shape, or form?
Nothing.
Did you have any arguments with your mom
No.
today?
I didn't say anything hurtful to her. I did nothing.
Okay.
No idea who would?
I have no idea who would. I can't even...
Because somebody did.
I'm having a hard enough time.
Jeff, somebody singled your mom out today. They committed a violent act today against your mom for a reason that we can't explain.
I don't know.
That's why we're asking you the questions that we're asking you.
I know.
I mean, we have a lot of questions and not a lot of answers. And you know, nobody can tell us why somebody would do this to your mom and single your mom out of all people.
I don't know.
I mean, can you think of anything? Any something we haven't asked you? I mean, there's reasons for everything that happens.
Other than the goofy neighbors that you said, you know, with the eggs. Any neighborhood disputes? Anybody unhappy about anything?
There was a thing between my dad and our next door neighbor about a dead tree.
Which next door neighbor? If you're standing facing the house.
This is my house, it would be this one.
Directly to the left, if you're looking at the house?
Yes.
What's that guy's name?
The Fanfares.
Fanfares?
The only dispute we'd really ever had with them was they had a big dead tree that kind of hung over our driveway, and my dad parked his car out in the driveway. We don't have room in the garage, and he offered to take it down, and they didn't want to take it down, and there was a dispute about that. But that was I want to say a few years ago.
Okay. All right.
Okay, hang tight for a minute. Let me go check on your pants, okay?
Okay. Yep, I'll get you out of there.
The interrogation ends here, and Jeffrey is released and goes home. 5 months later, Jeffrey would be arrested for the death of his mother. Jeffrey would take the case to trial, and prosecution would use several pieces of evidence against him. The first piece of evidence was Jeffrey's lack of emotion during the interrogation, and how he never once asked questions about his mother's death. Jeffrey claimed that he had transplanted 5 plants on the day of the crime, but the evidence would show that not to be true. Jeffrey's coworker would demonstrate for the police how the pallets were stacked at their job. He claimed that no matter what way he threw them, he could not inflict the same wounds on his hands. The final nail in Jeffrey's coffin would be the testimony from his ex-girlfriend. She claimed that Jeffrey would often become very emotional about his mother, and he attempted to move out on several occasions. She also claimed that Jeffrey had cheated on her, but because he was a very good liar, it took a while for her to find out. Jeffrey's lawyer would also state their case. They explained that there was no physical evidence tying Jeffrey to his mother. No DNA on the clothing or under the fingernails. No weapon had been found, and the crime scene had not been cleaned. As the trial played out, it appeared that the verdict could go either way. That's when prosecution made a game-changing motion. They asked the judge if there could be a second option. They wanted to add second-degree murder next to first-degree as a possible verdict. This meant if the jury wasn't convinced it was first-degree, but they also weren't convinced he was innocent, second-degree was a third option.
The second-degree murder charge, and counsel has objected.
We are entitled to that lesser-included offense, and I'm asking for it.
Thank you.
We do not believe that the evidence supports first degree, let alone second degree. I'm concerned that the jury will compromise their verdict based on emotion and the evidence in this case or lack thereof. So I would ask that second degree be left out.
If you find the defendant guilty of murder, you must state in your verdict whether it is first it is murder in the first degree or murder in the second degree.
Jeffrey would be found guilty of second-degree murder and receive 20 to 60 years in prison. What this meant was that Jeffrey must serve a minimum of 20 years, but on the 20-year mark, he would have a chance of being paroled.
To 20 years to 60 years with the Michigan Department of Corrections. He gets credit for 476 days. He is ordered to pay the crime victim rights fee of $130. He is assessed state cost of $68. It is also ordered that the defendant shall comply with DNA testing as an additional condition of his sentence.
To this day, Jeffrey's father claims that his son is innocent.
It was a coward and a monster that did this to my wife, and that's not my son. He could never harm her.
Do you have any idea who might have done it?
I can't speak to that. You know what? You know whose job that was? The detectives. And you know what they did? Nothing. They looked at me and they looked at my son. They did nothing else.
Jeffrey
They took
loved
the
his mother.
easy way out. He would never harm his mother. He loved her. He never showed anything but compassion and love for his mother. And he's the best
Jeffrey
big
loved
brother.
his mother so much, and he supported her in everything.
Is Jeffrey innocent or guilty? Was all the evidence circumstantial, or was Jeffrey tired of dealing with his mother's mental health issues? I would love to hear your thoughts on this case. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time here on the Red Tree Crime YouTube channel.